Okay, we're in. Okay, yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. How'd you like the last video? That was heavy, wasn't it? We got down to the nitty gritty. Who are you? Why were you hidden? Like everything else, truth dug up, hidden, and then hiding you from you, which is a masterful game of deception, not creativity. Definitely, it was something I was pondering, as I mentioned when the video started and the time I talked, how when I look at this place and it's becoming more clear and clear, I see what it is. It never produces pushing humanity as being great into unity. It's always dividing. It's so bad right now. I got a great back to the Gnostic gospel today. The Gnostic gospel I got today is called the Tripartite of the Tractate, and it's very heavily going to be, it's a very heavy gospel on and connected to the archons, and you will see a story that will bring a clarity about them and you. That's why I kind of brought that one in yesterday, because it leads into this. I always try to put the Hansel and Gretel, the cracker crumbs, so it leads you to where you're going. It's just a way to be, for me to be occultic, or to be XO, ESO, not X. But back to what I was going to say, and I just started looking how everything is that, and even now in the world, in things that are entertainment, sports, it's its all-time worst. The scenario from sports, from college to pro sports, is watered down and divided, and also politically is now jumped onto it. Political has jumped into it hugely, pushing a narrative of liberalism and stuff. It's just pushing these narratives that continue to divide. And where's that come from? It's not from you. You don't have the power. So I harmonize with that. It makes sense when I see here and look at here, when we can go back millennium, 2 millenniums, and the people in charge are still in charge, and nobody's figured out that they're raunchy as hell. From Rome to the mentals, that it's a game. And instead of picking one side or the other, if you're believing politically one side's better than the other, you're falling for the debris and the deception. And when you realize that, where was that nickel I had? Don't see it. Or that penny. I had a nice little penny here. I think my wife moved it. I think Marissa moved it. I was showing coin actually means king, Cain, right? This word, Cain. Wasn't Cain the one that slew Abel? I'm just kind of putting this together. And then Cain actually in etymology goes to king, goes to coin. And when we look at anybody that's a king politically, we're looking at necromancy. They're on the money. The money's connected to the moony, or the moon. It's a frequency and a vibration. Come on now. And then the necromancy's connected to it. And then the head of the king, president, so on and so forth, is put on the coin, which means Cain, coin, king. It all aligns. And this is not because they're so creative. They're very deceptive. And they know how we work in the physical when you're programmed, and heavily on the programming, heavily keeping you out of you. We don't want you to know who you are, because when you pull back the cupboard or you step up and the Monopoly board comes off your back and goes flying, because the Monopoly game becomes over. But this is the reality of the power here. It's being honest. I've seen more and more when you start looking at what did you create here that you created, that everything was already like here for you, so you didn't create it, right? But your energy is harnessed and used by succubuses, and they want to keep you in the negative state because they love the energy in the fear, negative, divided state, because they don't know how to experience the higher consciousness of love, unity, and oneness, because it's so much far of what they are not. Made decisions. But anyways, I got a Gnostic gospel. We might as well get to it now. We might as well get to that bad boy now, like I said. And we are going to do that. This has at least 9 to 10 chapters. I don't think I can get it done in one time, and I will not try to. This is the Tripartite Tractate. This is a very heavily one. There's another one called Thought. What is it? The Three Phases of Thoughts is another deep one. This one is even very much longer than I thought. The Sophia of Jesus Christ we did. I thought that Sophia of Jesus Christ would be a long gospel. It wasn't. Got it done in one. I don't think I can get this done in one. I already looked at it. It's maybe two. This is possibly 2, 3. I want to get to it now to see if we can get it in 2. But I'm open if we don't. Totality, the one from whom we receive grace. For whenever there is a father, the name son follows. But the single one, who's alone as the father, is like the root with 3 branches and fruit. Let me make this a little bit more bigger. And is said to him that he's the father of proper sense, since he is immutable. Because of this, he's a singular. He is a single in the proper sense and is a God, because no one is a God for him, nor is there anyone a father to him. For he is begotten, and there is no other who begot him, nor another who created him. For whoever is someone's father or his creator, he too has a father and a creator. It is certainly possible for him to be the father and creator of one who became into being from him and the one whom he created. For he is not a father in the proper sense, nor a God, because he has someone who begot him, who's created him. It is then only the Father and God in the proper sense that no one else begot. As for the totalities, he's the one begot them and created them. He is without beginning and without end. Not only is he without end, he's immortal for this reason, and he is unbegotten, for he's also invariable to his eternal existence. In this identity, and that by which he is established, and by which he is great. Neither will he remove himself for that which is he, nor will anyone else force him to produce an end, which he has not desired. He had not anyone who initiated his own existence. Thus, he himself is unchanged. No one can remove him from his existence. In his identity, that is which is his greatness, so that he cannot be grasped, nor is it possible anyone else could change that form or reduce him or alter him or diminish him. Since this is so in the fullness of the truth, who is the unalterable, immutable one with immutability clothing him? Not only is he the one called without a beginning, without an end, because he is unbegotten and immortal, but just as he has no beginning and no end as he is, he's unattainable in his greatness, inscrutable in his wisdom, incomprehensible in his power, and unfathomable in his sweetness. In his proper sense, he's alone, the good unbegotten Father, and the complete perfect one, is the one that filled with all his offspring, and with every virtue, and with every value, everything of value. And he has more, that is, lack of any malice, in order that it may be discovered that whoever so has anything embedded in him, because he gives it, being himself unreachable and unwearied by which he gives, since he is wealthy of the gifts which he bestows, and rest in the favors which he grants. He is of which a certain kind of form and great multitude, that no one else has been with him from the beginning, nor is there a place in which he is, or from which he has come forth, or into which he will go, nor is there a primordial form which he uses as a model as he works. So what you see, this is the beginning of all. This is the eternal aspect of the nothingness, the all, the monad. Nothing copycats from there. Nothing is the outline or the comes from, it doesn't come from anything before it. Always been. Nor is there any difficulty with accompanies him that he does, nor is there any material which is at his disposal from which he creates what he creates, or any substance within him which he begets, that he begets. nor co-worker with him, nothing in him on things at which he works. To say anything in his sort is ignorant. Rather, one should speak of him as good, faultless, perfect, complete, being himself the totality. No one of the names which are conceived or spoken, seen or grasped, not one of them applies to him. Even though they are exceedingly glorious, magnified, and honored, however it is possible to utter those names for his glory and honor in accordance to the capacity of each who will give him glory. As for him, in his own existence, being and form, it is impossible for mind to conceive him, nor can any speech convey him, nor can any eye see him, nor can anybody grasp him. Because of the inscrutable greatness and his incomprehensible depth and his immeasurable height and illimitable will, this is the nature of the unbegotten one, which does not touch anything else, nor does it join to anything in the matter of something that is limited. Rather, he possesses the constitution without having a farce or form, things which are understood through perception, whence he comes, the epithet, the incomprehensible. If he is incomprehensible, then it is follows which is unknowable, that he is the one who is inconceivable by any thought, invisible by anything, infallible by any word, untouchable by any hand. He alone is the one who knows himself as he is, along with his form, his greatness, and his magnitude. And since he has ability to conceive himself, to see himself, to name himself, to comprehend himself, he alone is the one in his own mind, his own eye, his own mouth, his own form. And he is what thinks, what he sees, what he speaks, and what he grasps. He himself, the one who is unconceivable, infallible, incomprehensible, and immutable, while sustaining joyous true delight, restful in that which he conceives and which he sees, that about which he speaks, that about which he has in thought. He transcends all wisdom and is above all intellect and above all glory and above all beauty and above all sweetness and all greatness and the depth of any height. This is the one who's unknowable in nature, to whom pertain all greatness. And I already mentioned it, out of the abundance of his sweetness, he wishes to grant knowledge so that he might be known. He has the ability to do so. He has his own power, which is his will. Now, however, in his silence, he himself holds back. He who is a great one, who is the cause of bringing the totalities in their eternal being, it is in the proper sense that he begets himself in his infallible, since he alone is self-begotten, since he conceives himself, and since he knows himself as he is. He is worthy of his adoration, glory, honor, praise. He produces because of the boundlessness of his greatness and unsearchableness of his wisdom and his unmeasurableness of his power, his intastable with sweetness. He is the one who projects himself thus as a generation, having glory, honor, marvelous and lovely, the one who glorifies himself, who marvels, who honors, who also loves, the one who has a son, who subsists in him, who is silent concerning him, who is the infallible one of the infallible one, the invisible one, the incomprehensible one, the inconceivable one, and the conceivable one. Thus he exists in him forever. The Father is the way he mentioned earlier in a perception of him that is of his constitution forever. This is, however, the proper sense, the silence and the wisdom and grace, if it is designated properly in this way. It says number 3, if this is the 3rd chapter, I did not see the 2nd. I don't remember seeing the 2nd. So I'm going to assume, let me go down some more just to see that this is that we did 1 and 2. I only seen 1, but the Son and the church. Just as the Father exists in the proper sense, the one before him, there is no else. And the one apart from him, there is no other begotten one. So to the Son exist in the proper sense, the one before him, there is no other, after whom no other Son exists. Therefore, it is a firstborn and only begotten firstborn, because no one exists before him, only the Son, because no one is after him. Furthermore, he has his fruit, which is the unknown because of his surpassing greatness. Yet he wanted to be known because of the riches of the sweetness, and he revealed the unexplainable power combined with his great abundance and generosity. Not only did his Son exist from the beginning, but the church too existed from the beginning. Now he who thinks that the discovery of the Son is only Son opposes the statement about the church because of the mysterious equality of the matter that is so. For just as the Father is the unity and revealed himself as the Father of him alone, so too the Son was found to be a brother to himself alone. In virtue of the fact he is unbegotten, without beginning, he wonders at himself along with his Father. He gives himself glory, honor, and love. Furthermore, he is the one which he conceives as a Son in accordance with the dispensations, without beginning and without end. This, the matter, something which is fixed, being innumerable, illimitable. His offsprings are indivisible, thus which exits have come from the Son and the Father, like kisses, because of the multitude of someone who kisses another with a good, insoluble thought. The kiss being a unity, although it involves many kisses. This is to say, the church consisting of many men that existed before the eons, which is called the proper sense, the eons of the eons. This is the nature of the holy imperishable spirits. Upon the Son rests since its essence, just as the Father rests upon the Son. The eon, chapter 4. Let's see where we're at in time. Real quick, let's see where we're at in time. Okay, we are good. So the church exists in the chapter 4, the aeonic emanations. The church exists in the dispensations of properties in which the Father and the Son exist. I said from the start, therefore, it subsists in the procreations of innumerable eons. Also, in an uncountable way, they too beget by the properties and the dispensations of which it is the church exists. For these compromise association which they form toward one another and toward those who have come forth from them toward the Son, of whose glory they exist. Therefore, it is not possible for mind to conceive him. He was a perfection at that place, nor can speech express him, for they are infallible, unnameable, and inconceivable. They alone also have ability to name themselves and to conceive of themselves, for they have not been rooted in these spaces. Those of places are infallible, innumerable, and in a system which both the manner of size, joy, gladness, and of the unbegotten, nameless, unnameable, inconceivable, invisible, and comprehensible one. It is the fullness of the paternity, so that his abundance is beginning of the eons. They were forever in thought, for the Father was like the thought in the place of them, and their generations had been established. The one who's completely in control wished to lay hold of and to bring forth that which was deficient in, and he brought forth him. But since he is as he is a spring, which is not diminished by water, which abundantly flows from it, while they were in the Father's thought, that is, in the hidden depth. And the depth knew them, but they were unable to know the depth in which they were, nor was it possible for them to know themselves, for them to know anything else. That is, they were with the Father and did not exist for themselves. Rather, only they existed in the manner of the seed, so that it has been discovered they existed like a fetus, like the Word he begot them, substaining spermatically, and the ones whom he was to begat not yet came into being from him. The one who first thought of them, the Father, not only so that he might exit for them, but also that he might exit for themselves as well, that he might then exist on a thought as a mental substance, that they might exist for themselves too. Thought like a spermatic seed. Now, in order that they might know what exists for them, he graciously granted them initial form, while in order that they might recognize who is the Father, who exists for them, he gave them the name Father by the means of the voice proclaiming to them that that which exists through the name, which they have by virtue of the fact that they came into being, because exaltation would escape their notice is the name. The infant, while in the form of the fetus, has enough for itself. Before ever seeing the Word who showed it, therefore they had the sole task of searching for him, realizing that he exists, ever wishing he would find out what exists. This is heavy because what I'm seeing in this is that which was before time. Even in putting it even in a place of a fetus growing in the awe of what you could be in that space. And don't be surprised if that space even is in the mother's womb for you in your experience of who you are, really. That divine spark that is in that through that process. This is heavy. I really like it. He did hear of them that they could exist only in the thought, but rather granted that they too might come into being. So also will give them grace to know what exists. That is, the one who knows himself eternally. And we're told to know ourselves is to know God. This is part of the kingdom is within you, is knowing yourself. It's within you. Formed to know what exists, just as people are begotten in this place, that they are born, they are light, that they see those who have begotten them. The Father brought forth everything like a little child, like a drop from a spring, like a blossom from a vine, like a flower, like a planting, in need of gaining nourishment, growth, and the faultlessness. He withheld it for a time. He who had thought of it from the very beginning possessed it from the very beginning and saw it, but he closed it off from those who first came from him. He did this not out of envy, not in order the eons might not receive their faultlessness from the very beginning, might not exalt themselves in the glory to the Father, that he might think from themselves alone have this. But just as he visited to grant what they might come into being to, in order that they may come into being as faultless ones. When he wished, he gave them that perfect idea of benefits towards them, the one he raised up in light for those who came from himself, the one from them they take their name is the Son, who is full, complete, faultless. He brought him forth, mingled him with the cause. No, mingled him, and he came forth from him, partaking of the totality in accordance with by which each one received for himself through such was not his greatness before he received it, by rather he exists by himself, as for in which he exists in his own manner, form, and greatness. It is possible for them to see him and speak about that which they've known of him, since they wear him while he wears them. That's heavy. Because it is possible for them to comprehend him. He might, however, as he is incomparable, in order that the Father might receive honor from each one and reveal himself, even in the infallibility, hidden, invisible. They marvel at him mentally, therefore the greatness of his loftiness consists in the fact that they speak about him and see him. He becomes manifest, so they might be hymed because of the abundance of sweetness with the grace. And just as the admiration of the silences eternal generations, that they are mentally offsprings to the dispensation of the word, spiritual emanations, both of them admirations, dispensations, or dispositions, that they belong to the word, are the seed, thoughts of the offspring, roots which will live forever, appearing of the offspring, which have came forth from themselves, being minds, spiritual offsprings to the glory of the Father. There is no need for a voice, mind, and word, because there is no need to work at that which they desire to do, but on the pattern by which he was existing. So are those who came forth from the beginning of him. This is heavy. This is going from the mind thought of the all to his creation, which he created, but was just manifesting in a birth of a fetus, like being birthed heavily. Everything they desire, of whom they conceive, whom they speak, and one toward them they move, and one whom they are, the one whom they him, thereby glorify him who he has sons, for this is their procreative power, like those from whom they have come, according to their mutual assistance, since they assisted one another like the begotten ones. The Father, in accordance with his exalted position over the totalities, being an unknown, incomprehensible one, has such greatness and magnitude that if he had revealed himself suddenly, quickly to all the exalted ones, deep breath, among the eons he had come forth from him, they would be perished. Therefore he himself withheld his power, is inexhaustible within which he is infallible, unnameable, exalted above every mind and every word. This one, however, stretched himself out of it, and it was that which he stretched out, which gave a foundation and a space and a dwelling place for the universe. The name of his being, the one through whom he is the Father of all, out of all his laboring for those who exist, having sown to their own thought, that they might seek after him. The abundance of their consists in the fact that they understand he exists, in the fact that they ask what it is he was existing. What is it that was existing? This was given to them for enjoyment, nourishment, and joy, and abundance of illumination, which consists of his fellow laboring, his knowledge, and his mingling with them. That is the one who is called and is, in fact, the Son, since he is in the totalities. He is the totalities and the one from whom they would both, and who is, and that he is who clothes. This is one who called Son, and the one whom they understand that he exists and were seeking after him. This is the one who exists as the Father and I, and as the one about whom they cannot speak. The one whom they do not conceive. This is the one who came first being. Is it impossible for anyone to conceive of him or think of him? Or can anyone approach there towards the exalted one, towards the pre-existence of the proper sense? But all the names conceived or spoken about him are presented in honor and a trace of him, according to the ability of each one of those who glorify him. Now he who rose from him, whom he stretched out of his begetting for the knowledge on the part of the totalities, all the names without falsification, that is, in the proper sense. The sole one, the man of the Father, that is, the one of whom I call. Form, formless, the body of bodiliness, the face of the invisible, the word of the unutterable, the mind of the inconceivable, the fountain which flowed from him, the root of those who are planted, and the God of those who exist, the light of those whom he illuminates, the love of those whom he loved, the providence of those whom he providentially cares, the wisdom of those he made wise, the power of those whom he gives power, the assembly of those who he assembles to him, the revelation of the things which are sought after, the eyes of those who see, the breath of those who breathe, the life of those who live, the unity of those who are mixed with the totalities. All them exist in single one, as he clothes himself completely and by a single name is never called. And in this unique way, they are equally the single one and the totalities. He is neither divided in a body nor separated in names, which he has received, so that he is one thing in this way, another in another way. Also, neither does he change, nor does he turn into the names which he thinks of, because now something else, this thing now being one thing, at another time something else, but rather in his holy himself to the uttermost. He is each and every one of the totalities forever at the same time. He is what all men are. He brought the fathers of a totality. He also is a totalities, for he is the one who knows who is the knowledge for himself. He is each of the properties. He was the powers and is beyond all which he knows, while seeing himself in himself completely, having a son form. Therefore his powers, his properties, are innumerable, inaudible, because of the begetting by which begets them. Innumerable, indivisible are the begettings of the word. His commands and his totalities, he knows them, which things he himself, since they are single name, and all are speaking in it, and he brings them forth in order that he might be discovered, that they might exist according to their individual properties in a unified way. He did not reveal multitudes of totalities at once, or did he reveal equality to those who came forth from him? That was long. The fourth chapter is long. Let us see where we are in time. I am going to say we're gonna do five, the eonic life on the next one. We're not gonna go. We're gonna do five. Five's pretty long too. So now I kind of understand. I think 4 and 5 are probably the longest chapters from what I looked at earlier. It makes sense to me. But the totalities of the all, the conceivedness of that in the mind, being birthed from a higher state of being, from this state of the pleroma, of the unity. Notice he said, you're whatever you're doing, you're one. This is a state of not necessarily duality. This is a state of harmony and oneness, unity. Like he said, the lower states can't conceive it. But he said through Jesus, or through this Christ, he would make the inconceivable conceivable, the infallible fallible, meaning this wisdom will be passed through him, that man can now start seeing it and experiencing and knowing it. And I think going in here, you're going to see some other stuff dealing with the lower realms in the later chapters. We did the first 4 chapters of this. And I not do the name here? Let me do the name real quick. Yes, I did not. Sorry, you guys. But this was really good. This is really deep, because this is talk you won't see at the first church of indoctrination. You're not going to see that. Does that make sense? You're not going to see that there. See my Tractate, not tight. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay. This is called the Tripartite Tractate. We're at the 35-minute mark now. I think we can call this a good episode. I will follow back up with this, because we're almost done with this. I think there's only 9 or 10, and we will finish. We will start back with 5. You guys have a great day. Know who you are. Accept who you are. And I don't mean go into your ego to brag and tell everybody you're God, but them from a spiritual place, accept who you are and how powerful you are. That they want to deceive you and keep you dug down, because they know the power we have if we wake up and start taking our place. We're a cog in the system. We are them. We create in the simulation. We start creating where it's recognized, oh, these people really don't fit the program no more. And the buzzers go off, is like, okay, some folks over here that really are on a prison break, because they're not fitting this arrangement that we have. They are walking out and actually acknowledging and seeing who they are, and waking up to they are, and not bowing down, but walking in who they are and accepting it. But with wisdom for those who don't know. But with that system, no, ain't going to play with it. It's a huge balance too, because there's things we need to do, as you know, with work and stuff like that. But we start seeing some of the stuff that we've had to do just to survive. This thought has been with me very thickly, and I'll close with this, very thickly for months. And many of you've heard it before. You've said it before. You've talked about it before. You've even told people, hey, you got to work to make a living. But why do we have to make a living? Why aren't we just being what we are and hang on that wisdom when we talk again? You guys have a great day. We have some good stuff coming again.